It didn't take you too long.
No. Good-looking group, aren't we?
Good evening and welcome to the Chaska City Council meeting for Monday, October 20th. Can I have everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I forgot to mention, I call it to order at 7:01. Elise, can you please call roll?
Councilmember Hatfield?
Here.
Councilmember Benish?
Here.
Councilmember Shevlin?
Here.
Councilmember McGraw?
Here.
Mayor Hubbard?
Here. All right, next we have the adoption of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections on the agenda? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt agenda.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Hatfield.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Benish. Any other discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda is adopted. And then next we have visitor presentations. We have two on our agenda tonight. The first is 5A, Southern Valley Alliance, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Is Kim with us tonight? All right, come on up.
Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Christy Larson. I'm actually the Executive Director at Southern Valley Alliance. Kim couldn't come tonight, so you're stuck with me. But I appreciate you all having me here tonight. As Mayor Hubbard mentioned, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and now more than ever, it's imperative that the City of Chaska recognizes and works to combat domestic abuse. So for those of you that are unaware, Southern Valley Alliance is the only organization to provide services to victims of domestic abuse in all of Scott and Carver counties. In our last fiscal year, we served 89 victims in Chaska alone. We answer over 2,000 calls on our crisis line annually. We assist victims and survivors in their greatest time of need by providing crisis intervention, emotional support, resources, and safety planning. We are a prevention and solutions-focused organization, and we partner with our local law enforcement, social services, and healthcare providers to make the communities of Scott and Carver a safer place to live. The organization was founded in the early 80s in Belle Plaine by a local woman who experienced spousal abuse. We moved to Shakopee in January of 2024, and since then we have experienced a 20% increase in the demand for our services because of that accessibility to our advocacy center. As a community-based and community-funded organization, Southern Valley Alliance is facing significant federal, state, and local foundation funding cuts. Amidst these cuts, it is important that the City of Chaska recognizes Domestic Violence Awareness Month and does all it can to support victims and survivors today and throughout the year. We encourage our community members to follow us on social media and learn more on our website, svamn.org. So thank you so much for having me out today.
Thank you, Christy. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Christy? I guess I'd just like to say that I know there's just such a stigma attached to domestic violence, and it's very pervasive. So I really appreciate your agency being a resource center and a support center for victims of domestic violence. It really is extremely imperative that we have something. It saves lives, saves families. And also, I think, makes a legacy impact on the lives of their children, if they have children, to not continue that cycle of violence. So it takes a village, and I think it's something for all of us to recognize that when we see something, we need to say something. So I really appreciate you coming forward. I don't know if we do, I know it's the Domestic Violence Month. I know this is our last meeting for October, so I suppose like a proclamation or something probably, but I don't know what kind of tools we could do to recognize, but.
Yeah.
I will encourage, we do have some fundraisers.
Okay.
So we have our annual poinsettia sale fundraiser, and we are also doing, partnering with the Chaska Alliance to do purse bingo at Size Bar and Grill. So I will leave those flyers as well as a way to get involved. So,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you very much.
Okay,
So
thank
thank you
you.
for your time.
Yep, thank you so much.
All right, moving along to, we have another visitor presentation on our agenda, which is Oak Ridge Conference Center update from Susan.
Hi, I'm Connie Kane. I'll be going first if you don't mind.
Okay.
I am a consultant for Oak Ridge Chaska, so very excited to be here. Thank you for your time. And so just by way of background, I am a licensed engineer. I am also a licensed general contractor. I've been in this space for about 30 years now in the energy infrastructure space. My MBA, also have an MBA in strategic planning and operations management. And so have the opportunity today, I'll turn it over to Susan to just talk through our reopening plan and our security plan for the facility. I know you guys have heard from staff as far as some interchanges there of where we stand, but really wanted to give a face to the name, to get to know you as we intend to open our property and get invested in this community, and not just be a part of the community, but certainly be impactful in the community, if that makes sense. And so, again, we just appreciate your time. We're here to answer any questions that you have in an effort that we do secure a temporary certificate of occupancy so we can begin to open as a hotel and serve the community. So thank you again, and I'll turn it over to Susan.
Hi. So I'm Susan Elzy. It's nice to meet you guys. I'm the Director of Operation for Oak Ridge Chaska. Like Connie was saying, really wanted to come more tonight just to meet everybody, put a face to the company, let you know that, of course, we're excited to open a hotel, especially considering every single person I have met on my trips up here and mentioned the Oak Ridge Hotel to has their own personal story of who they know that got married there. So it's very encouraging. It's really known as a landmark in the community. So we're excited that it does carry such a good reputation and name, and to be a part of continuing that. Like Connie spoke on, obviously we're excited to reopen this hotel and be a part of that. But more than anything, this is a great community that we hope to benefit and be a part of. I've spoken with several people already from different charitable organizations, and even, and I'm sorry that I forget her name, that just spoke on domestic violence. We want to come to this community. We want to make a positive impact. We currently, again, just to kind of give you an update on the security and reopening, we currently have a pending MOU with the staff. That MOU is addressing everything from security protocols to phased occupancy that's going to go hand in hand with our outstanding property improvements of the additional parking needed, valet being provided in the meantime. Hiring plan. Walter Hudson is here with me tonight. He is a part of our security company that we've enlisted because we are aware that there has been some ongoing issues with vandalism and stuff to the property. Definitely wanted that addressed immediately. Again, though, definitely want to also say that the first thing that we know is going to stop this is, again, when we have an occupied building as opposed to a vacant building. But in the meantime, we definitely want to show that we have done everything. We've made large investments into meeting any requirements, and really just want to, through this memorandum of understanding, make sure that any last things that we need to do on our part are met so that we can secure that temporary certificate of occupancy and move forward. Of course, with it being temporary, we're also very aware that that gives the city the opportunity, as well as us, an opportunity to continue to meet any requirements that come up in the future to work towards that permanent certificate of occupancy. But definitely just wanted to express our deepest desire to work along with the city and getting this thing moving forward, and wanted to give you guys an opportunity for any questions or concerns that we may be able to answer for you. Again, Connie has a lot of the answers. I have some of them. Walter Hudson, which is actually a state representative here in Minnesota, can answer any questions regarding our security protocol, because we do know that that has been a major concern.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you coming and introducing yourself, and look forward to seeing action on that property. I also appreciate you kind of letting the cat out of the bag, proverbially, because you're right, being vacant, there has been I think even as recently as this last weekend or
4
sometime
people
in the
were
last.
arrested, yes.
It's imperative that that place is being secure right now, you know, just for the safety of not only the people that are doing the wrong deed of breaking into your facility.
Right.
Or that property, but also our law enforcement agencies. I mean, anytime
a
puts
drain
their
on
lives at
their-
risk as well.
And it's a drain on their resources. Definitely want to
Absolutely.
acknowledge that. Definitely want to acknowledge that. We have hired Integris Security Solutions. We already currently have 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. patrols happening along with camera installation. And again, Walter can speak a little more onto that, but definitely want to acknowledge that this was an issue. It is something that we have addressed. And again, like you said, safety issues along with it being a drain on resources that need to be spent somewhere else.
I wanted to put some context too behind the talk about temporary occupancy
I
permit.
appreciate that, because that's
Yeah.
news, I think, to the council
So
here.
when, when that whole development occurred out there, so Costco and then the.
Meadow Springs.
The
Yeah.
what is it called again?
Meadow Lake, Springs Lake.
Meadow,
Meadows and
McKnight, Spring.
McKnight Springs.
Springs and McKnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, when that whole development happened out there, one of the discussions we had with the developer is that, you know, they were losing parking and landscaping with that project, and that in order to have occupancy of that Oak Ridge Center, they needed to be able to build a parking lot that could accommodate the use of that building, and then replace the landscaping that was in there that, you know, basically was needed for the rest of it. So as part of the development agreement that was put in place even before Costco was built, we put in a condition that said that you can't get a certificate of occupancy for that building until you complete the parking lot and the landscaping, and we actually retained dollars in case they didn't complete that work. Now, we haven't taken any action to utilize those escrow dollars because they've continued to work with a group to try to bring somebody in to do that. But we do have dollars that we're holding that if that wasn't to happen, that we could put those into completing those final 2 things for it. So, so really the certificate of occupancy, it's really making sure that if there's a hotel use there, that there's actually a place for them to park. Because there's, I mean, if you
Right.
think about
No,
that
the parking lot
space
is
there,
gone.
the parking lot's gone, the road is not a road you can park on. Obviously, 41 you can't park on. You can't go into Costco's parking lot because it's a private parking lot, and so it was really important to make sure that that was put in there. So,
Absolutely.
so that's sort of the context behind the,
Yep.
that.
And we have pulled permits, we have hired contractors, and again, there is the funds, securing funds. So we have met the requirements so far that the city has asked of that. So again, really trying, we want to work with the city. We want to, again, we want to make the city proud as we come in and stuff. And we know this is a big venture, and we know that, you know, and we looked into flagging it a couple of times, but honestly, we don't want to come in as a corporation, like a big corporate. We want to come in and, again, be a part of the community and add to that, be a great employer of people. And we really want to work along with the city because, again, we understand your role and how important it is to safeguard your community.
Well, go ahead.
I would say, I think it's wonderful that you have interest in that building. It's been vacant now for some time.
Yes.
And as the area around it has grown up very nicely with Costco and the McKnight Springs, it'll be fun to see what you guys do there. So it's exciting. Would you just give us just a little more background? Are you, like, is the restaurant reopening? Or
Yes.
when you say hotel, like, what are we, just a little bit of
Yeah,
background
no,
on the project?
absolutely. Would love to. I can't help but be excited to be able
Yeah.
to speak about it. So again, it is going to be a phased reopening, very large part because of the parking situation. But Long-term, absolutely going to have the restaurant operational. Again, not repurposing at all, definitely intended use of a hotel and the conference center.
Executive suites and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. I've already spoken with a few people who have interest in, some of the conferences that are currently being held inside Minneapolis, moving over to something a little outside that can provide the conference center along with the lodging, that kind of thing. But yeah, definitely long-term, absolutely reopening the restaurant. We've debated on between possibly reaching out to an established restaurant in the area that would like to open a second location in the hotel, as opposed to running it completely separately. But definitely the plan. But again, very cognizant of the fact that it has to be a
Place where
staggered
people feel
opening of
safe and a
things
stage.
until we get that parking lot. But we do have the permits and stuff pulled. At this point, in the pending MOU, we are putting a completion date, like a solid date of that having to be completed by June 15th. My understanding being that they clear the exceptions, I'm sorry, that's not the thing, the road requirements, the restrictions for the road due to the code and stuff, they come up at the end of March. And so having that set date of June 15th, there should be no issue between them lifting the road restrictions and being able to complete that parking lot. So that is part of the pending MOU, is a set date for that parking lot to be finished by June 15th.
So, part of the, visitor presentation, we don't take action on something,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
This sounds a little like along the lines of something that's gonna end up on our agenda, maybe for a more robust discussion, but I will say this, just from the standpoint of discussions just in general, especially in regards to Oak Ridge. I don't know how that all works. I don't know how you make a temporary thing. When you have a whole building, I think you gotta have the right components in place in order to open a building, and that includes the parking. Like, the parking just has to be there. You can't open up part of the building and have a small portion of parking. I kinda have to have the whole thing, because the building is the whole thing. You have, in other words, you have like a checklist of code compliances, I'm sure, that you guys have to make in order to have an operational building. It's the same standards that we put on any other business in the city of Chaska. It's kind of the same standards that we have to put across everybody. It's an equity standpoint.
Absolutely.
So, like I said again, we can't take action on it, but it's just something that I feel like maybe just needs to be addressed. And I don't know if, Nate, you'd like to touch on anything.
Yeah, we've been working with this group, I think, for some time, right? We've had multiple conversations. I think we've talked about the idea of a temporary certificate of occupancy. Staff's always had questions on how that would look. So I'm thankful to see at 6:20 p.m. today that the MOU draft was delivered to my email. I haven't had a chance to review it yet. So all the information that's provided tonight is news to me. So I think it'll be helpful to have that time to work through it, and we'll work with their attorney as we have been to see if there's something that can work out. But right now, I'm not in a position to really comment much further on that because I haven't seen it.
I appreciate that.
But again, I appreciate you guys' time. I don't know if there's any other questions especially from the security perspective, because I know that's been a major concern, that Mr. Hudson could answer, or anything, if you'd like him to come up, or?
I think you've got the message that it needs to be secure.
Yeah,
Can't
I
have
think,
people, right, I think.
yeah, it's
Yes.
imperative right now.
Yes, and I
because
think-
it's an issue.
I think Nate did receive the email from Whitney telling you where we have put those protocols in place a couple weeks ago. I remember there being a response from you, so I believe it was.
He had sent an email, and we had sent some questions for clarification. He
Okay.
provided that back. I think I
great.
said thanks for that.
Okay, great. Well,
So
that was
he provided
nice.
a contact name. I don't remember who it was.
Nick Robinall, possibly, or Christian.
Yeah, there's been a
Probably
few
one of
names.
those two,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but it's been nice meeting you guys. Hope to be seeing all of your faces again as we move forward.
Sounds good.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
your
much for
time.
coming. All right, that moves us along. So those are the two that I have on the agenda, but is anybody else here for visitor presentation, something that is not an agenda item? we can't, obviously, like I had stated, we can't take action on it, but no one's running up to the microphone, so we're gonna move ourselves right along to approval of the previous meeting minutes. These meeting minutes were from September 29th, 2025. Does anybody have any additions or corrections on the minutes? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Grau.
Second?
And a second from Councilmember Shevlin. Any discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, minutes approved. And then that moves us down to consent items. These are items that receive little to no discussion, although we are certainly can pull something off for a larger discussion, or if anybody has any clarifying or simple questions, feel free to shout it out. Now is the time.
I just had a quick question on the higher place. Does that mean they got the state lottery certificate or whatever to open a full,
Yeah.
dispensary?
So the process works where they get, it's a weird process.
I read it, but I didn't really understand.
So they get notified from the state that they are eligible to have a license, then they have to come to the city to make sure that the location that they're gonna be in meets our regulations. And then, so we have to sign off on that. And then, which is in essence sort of what we're doing now. And then they have to go back to the state to show them that they actually have done that and it meets it. But then before they can actually open, then they have to go through a process where the state actually comes in and inspects them
Sure.
to make sure that they're gonna be compliant with the state statutes.
What's exciting that it's one of the local businesses
Yeah,
already,
no,
instead
and
of-
those guys have been there for a while
Yeah.
now and
Yeah.
stuff, so it's, I mean, I think that's always been community's concerns, is that they'd have people coming in that they don't know. And so far, the people we've had, even the one that's new, it's been people who have had a connection to the community, and so I think we've known them, and I think that just makes it easier for
Yeah,
everybody.
no, I was thinking that from a safety perspective and
Yep.
all that other stuff, that we know them is good, so, great.
It's a really awkward process, so
It's
to
so
be
awkward.
honest.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna comment that it was nice to see that they're on the agenda, that this was something that was, something that obviously is moving forward as a state. And it's nice to see that the gentlemen that have the business, they've made an investment in our community and have built, built themselves into the fabric of the community, so.
No,
which is good
that's
to
why I
see.
was excited to see their name
Yeah.
and hoping it was the same thing, so.
Yeah, it's definitely nice that it's someone that came into town and said, we're gonna invest before we even know we can have this license.
Yeah.
We're gonna, selling other products and things too, but it is just nice, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what you guys have already said, but to have a business that already established themselves and invested before they knew they could fully have it is nice. Because you see that happen in communities where, they get a license, and then they come in and they maybe haven't kind of weaved themselves into the community yet.
Yeah.
So this is nice, for sure.
Absolutely, so, great. Any other discussions on any other consent items? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve consent.
All right, motion from Councilmember Benish.
Second.
No, second from Councilmember Hatfield. Any other discussion? Although, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, consent approved. All right, that moves us down to action items. First action item is AA. It's a public hearing, adopt resolution 2025-75, approving the imposition of service charges for the 2026 Downtown Special Services District.
Mayor and council members, I always sort of enjoy this night each year, because this is something that started, now will be our 12th anniversary of going through, since we worked with the downtown businesses to set up a downtown special services district. And I see the two friendly faces back there in the back that have put a lot of time and energy into really helping to make downtown a special place, and this is a tool for them to be able to do that. So each year, basically they ask us as businesses to impose a
a tax against them. And then they are then able, we collect it, but then we provide it back to them then to be able to use collectively for the good of downtown and marketing and events and all those types of things. So this is that action that we have to take each year to do that. And so I'll turn it over to Julie, who can sort of go through details. And we do have representatives here from the Downtown Special Services District too.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, Matt. I don't have a lot to add to the summary Matt just provided.
Stolen thunder.
As Matt indicated or alluded to, thank you. As Matt indicated or alluded to, the Special Service District was established in 2014. And so this has come yearly before the council every year since. The funds support the enhanced services for the downtown businesses in the downtown area, the events, the special amenities that go above and beyond what the city would typically pay. So that's kind of what the pooled funds are used for in this special service district. The Chaska Downtown Business Alliance was designated to manage that district, and they use the funds to support and promote the businesses downtown. And some of the initiatives they have planned for next year with these funds are to market and promote on their websites and social media. They've been working hard to ramp that up this year. They're creating opportunities for the ongoing businesses to communicate with each other with their monthly meetings and then one-on-ones. The businesses have been working together more and more this year. They're piloting short-term activations like pop-ups, art installations. They're going to be launching new reoccurring event series such as concerts, seasonal festivals, kind of more family-friendly type of events. And then they're going to continue engagement around the possibility of enlarging the district within the next year. The 2026 proposed budget is $58,100, which remains unchanged with the last several years. There is not an increase in the budget this year. Each year, the council is required to approve the special service district's operating budget and the corresponding service charges. It requires holding a public hearing and then adopting the resolution. So both the resolution, the operating plan, and kind of the outline of the service charges that were all attached to your reports. This will allow the Business Alliance to continue working to promote and re-energize our downtown and the businesses within. Public hearing notices and the proposed service charges for each of the properties were sent out a few weeks ago, and staff is recommending the council hold a public hearing and adopt the resolution in front of you. Jen Angel with the Downtown Business Alliance, she's the administrator, and Mel Carlson, who's one of the board members, are here and to speak regarding. I'd be happy to take any questions if you have, and I think Jen and Mel can speak as well.
All right.
And you have to hold a public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to do this before the public hearing or after, but I don't know if Jen or Mel want to come up and just talk about this year and kind of what's up next, especially talking about expanding boundaries and maybe some events. If you want to come talk.
Yeah, should we do that to start?
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Or we could,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be part of the
order.
public hearing.
We're never afraid to talk.
I heard Mel wanted to speak about everything.
She wrote this stuff. She wrote everything that we're going to talk about tonight. Right. So it's fun to be up here because obviously we have two new council members who we haven't got to talk about some of the work that we're doing downtown. So welcome, and we're excited to share with you some of the things that we've been doing because they're a big change to, I think, some of what we've done in the past, and we have more of that coming. I'd like to start that by saying I feel like some of the turning of downtown was because road construction brings everyone together, and we have had our fair share of that. But it's been a catalyst, I think, for where we are today and some of the things that I'm going to share with you. And I'm going to use the analogy that we've probably all heard, the crawl, walk, run analogy. I'm using that a lot in AI as I talk to people about how you use AI in that framework, and I think it really speaks to downtown. When I started 10 years ago, we were definitely in the crawl stage, right? Like we didn't have a website, we didn't have an email. Like we were bringing all of that stuff up, and it was kind of the foundation. And some of the things that Julie mentioned are more of the run that I'm going to talk about. But our walk was really good. Like we've done a lot of great things. Our Halloween event is fabulous. Hometown Holiday continues to be a place you come for carriage rides, which are by far our number one thing that happens that day. But there's been a lot of, I think, really spectacular events that we've done in the past, but we know we need to do more. If you ask any business down here, I think their fear is that the events are in Fireman's Park. They haven't been in the heart of Chaska. We're doing a lot of things to bring that back. We did some pop-up events out here in the plaza. We're looking at some other spaces in downtown, in addition to having City Square Park back in kind of our hub of locations that we can do things at. But we know we need to be down here, and we know we have to increase that walkability, and that's where the community events that are happening right now every Saturday help us do just that. And I'm going to jump from events to kind of business engagement, because if you were to ask either of us what we needed to make things successful, it would be the engagement of the business community. And sometimes that's like pulling teeth. It hasn't been of late. We have new owners at Size, and he is at our meetings, and he is doing pop-ups at Hayloft for our community events on Saturdays. He's out and about, and he's engaging other businesses and getting them involved. I mentioned Hayloft. Like, they are a powerhouse together, and they are full of ideas of things that we can't think of. Like, you look at a board member of 4 or 5 people, we can't figure out all the ideas, but when we have new businesses coming in, they help generate those things that we can go test and try out. And I think, you know, Jones Coffee, obviously the coffee is fabulous, but just them being at the meetings and sharing what they're seeing on that side of town and what Second Street is feeling like, again, it helps us figure out how we do something good for everyone. One of the biggest feedbacks we've had from a business engagement perspective is, what are you going to do for the service-based businesses, right? Like, it's really easy to market to the retail, to the restaurants, to that kind of establishment, but how do we get people into our service-based businesses or understand them? And now that we've got those businesses coming, we can build, I think, scalable plans that really talk about that. So when you look at our walk phase, it was a lot of just leveling up what we had done in crawl. Now we're making bigger changes. And I think the biggest one I want to comment on is our social media strategy. For years, we kind of reshared things that the businesses were doing. And we did a live event when we did an event. And those things were great 7, 5, 8 years ago. That's not how social media works these days. And I'm not an expert on social media because I'm old. And you sometimes have to be a little bit more in tune to how people are engaging with different forms of content. And so we've done that. We've partnered with Orange Ball, and they are able to help us drive content that people want to engage with and people remember. We've seen our page views up 61% in the month that we've done this, what I would call a POC, a proof of concept with Orange Ball, because there is a spend associated with that. But a 61% increase in our page views, our Downtown Chaska Facebook page, is crazy. We haven't had those kind of numbers since we started the page, and those people coming and liking and engaging with the content puts it in front of more people. We got a badge because we are posting more relevant content. And those things help us get that, that's how the algorithms work. If you've heard your kids say that, it's legit. That's how it works. The more we post and the more that content is good and scalable, the more it gets our content in front of other people. So those are a few fun things that we've done. Our biggest post that we had was Jones Coffee on National Coffee Day. We had 23,000 views and engagements on that post. I mean, that's crazy. So good fun things there. We mentioned events, or Julie mentioned events. We tried a pop-up series here in the plaza. We think that's a scalable event that we can do going forward. We want to add more events, and we want to add more events like our Halloween event. If you've ever done the Halloween event here, it's this Saturday from 2 to 5 downtown. We have about 25 businesses and St. John's with their trunk or treat participating. And a sip and shop, which as a parent of 4 children, that is the only way to trick or treat. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So this should be a really fun weekend down here. And it enables, if community events are kind of a new idea, it enables our restaurants to get involved in a way that people can come and eat and then take their beverage to go and move about and shop, and in this case, trick or treat. What's cool about that event is it's a low barrier to entry for our businesses. And that's what we're thinking about from a scalability perspective. How do we get you involved when it doesn't take much for you to actually be a part of it, but it's a really big bang for your buck. Like, you get probably 600 families in your door at this trick-or-treat event, weather dependent, but it looks like it's going to be 60 and sunny. And that's not bad for buying a couple bags of candy. That's people finding you on a map, and people standing in front of your business and then having that realization. So those are the kind of events that we're driving towards, because they're not only restaurants and retail, it's service, it's everyone down here that people can come and stop into and engage with. I'm going to pause there because I talk a lot. And I only have 1 point left, but I'll stop for that and see if there's any questions that you have for us.
For her. Clearly, she runs the show.
Any questions for Jenn? I'm so excited to hear this last point.
Yeah, me too.
It's like, I feel like it's kind of a cliffhanger, yeah.
Oh. Well, I kind of left my crawl, walk, run thing, but I think if I want to come back to that, I think the only way that we can run is with the continued partnerships. Like, we cannot do what we do on $58,000 without the partnership and support of the city and Parks and Rec. And I think that's the big piece going forward. If we're going to do these series of events, we have to know what Parks and Rec is doing. Like, we have to plot our events in to complement what's happening. We have to do the same with the chamber. Like, we can't go against the farmer's market and the music that night. Like, it's all one big cohesive idea of how we get people down here and get them moving around downtown. And we can't do that without that support. You know, we mentioned enlarging the district. We've had interest from directions east and west. East and west. To think I was just camping and I got out alive. And that's something that we're pushing for. They're interested in joining it. I think they're seeing value in what we're doing here. And that was in our walk stage. I think our run stage is going to be even more valuable to the businesses. I think the other thing that we're looking at, our founding, I wouldn't say our founding principle, maybe my founding principle, is to do more with less, right? Like, we all know that we used to do reindeers at Hometown Holiday, and then we switched that up and we do llamas, because reindeers are really expensive. And llamas kind of look like reindeers and are not as expensive, and the kids still love them.
They don't escape.
And they're nicer.
My
They are
kids
much
still
nicer.
remember that when the one reindeer got away.
Yes.
And kind of started trotting through.
Yeah.
And we're all like, oh, this isn't supposed to be happening. Let's slowly
Somebody-
move this direction.
Somebody get that reindeer. And we still believe in that philosophy, but we also know things cost more now. It costs more to do our gift with purchases. It costs more to get a Santa. It costs more to have kids dance come and do an event. And so what we're trying to build is a good foundation to come back in the next couple of years and say, we'd like to increase the budget to continue to do more of these things that are helping you out in a bigger scale. So that is, I think, all we have.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say, as I've loved being the liaison from the council to the Downtown Business Alliance the last 7 years, and it has truly been crazy this last year, 2 years, where it used to be I would see the same 10 people at a meeting. We'd be in a small space and there'd be 10 of us, and it was always the same 10 people trying to figure out what to do. And really, since the construction, while that was a very painful thing for the businesses, really has been, to your great word, catalyst for where they're at now, which is there's new people at every meeting, new businesses. They're coming, they're sitting on the board. Used to be hard to get a quorum, still occasionally is, but there are more. Usually they come into the meeting eventually, and those service-based businesses are getting involved, you know, and it's all, you know, we have multiple banks, things like that, and it's all a partnership. No one's competing. Everyone is just trying to build a better Chaska, better downtown Chaska, and build community in what they're doing, and it's just been incredible and just exciting. And you're absolutely right, being in the run stage. You guys are about to do a marathon. Like, the things you're doing in the next year or 2 years are beyond exciting. You know, we've been filming these locally yours videos, and we sat down with Andy at Red Bench, and I think I asked him, you know, what advice would you give someone wanting to open a business in downtown Chaska? And he said, do it quick, because this is the place to be. And I think he was spot on, that this is really the place to be for businesses. And I just am so beyond excited because you guys, the whole group that comes on those Friday mornings, mind you, it's at 7:30 in the morning, which is a terrible time to be awake, but they are, and they're thinking hard, and everyone's happy and engaged, and that is rare because they're not getting paid. I mean, they're business owners, so they're investing in a way, but no one's being paid to be there. They're choosing that on a Friday morning. And so I think that's really incredible. We're really lucky as a city to have such an engaged downtown business alliance. So thanks for all you do.
We are very lucky.
Have you tried to partner with the local, like St. John's, or I think Guardian Angels has a preschool again this year, or things like that, to sponsor the service industries, to sponsor school events or booths at school events? I know my children are at St. Hubert's, and a lot of the Chanhassen businesses, of course, the restaurants will support, but the insurance brokers, the realtors, the, things that you don't hear as much about will have a booth at a lot of the big school events or contribute to some things because parents go where their pets go and their kids go, and they spend money where their pets and their kids are. So it's a way for them to let you know they're in Chanhassen and that they're interested in some of the things that your children are doing or supporting, like marathon or things like that.
I think that's still an opportunity for us. I think St. John's joined the Halloween event a couple years ago, and that was that's a huge opportunity because it just brings in a whole different group of individuals who are down here for another event, and it blends together. And when you think of Hometown Holiday, like we have the Girl Scout boutique that happens at the church in the mornings, and those are all things that I think feed off of each other. It's great to hear that Guardian Angels is reestablishing the school because I think that was a big loss for us. All of those parents, my kids are at St. John's, that are driving their kids down here or down here for pickup or down here for sports are all people who are like, I don't know if you all saw Sai's events that he did during back to school week when he had here's your back to school dinner. It's pizza tonight, it's hamburgers tomorrow, just stop in, pick them up, and you're ready to go. And all of that kind of works together, but I think we still have room to grow those partnerships.
Yeah. No, I know it's a huge thing that we look forward to. There's something called Brunch After the Bell where PTA and any moms who want to join Friday mornings once a month go to a local place in Chanhassen, and the discount is because a local business person sponsored the discount that day on food. So, again, where realtors get their names in, or fall festival and last day of school events, they have booths and they're sponsoring games that the kids play or prizes, or just great ways for them to get involved that bring the community out.
Well, and I think that's an
supporting
interesting way
something
for
that's
us
in their
to
community.
support the service industry or the service businesses, because that is something that we are continuing to try and figure out, is how best to support them so they feel they're getting the same reward that our other businesses are.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. I've been able to attend a few of your meetings. Sometimes I have a conflicting transportation meeting. Sometimes I skip that, sorry, because it's way more exciting to come to the Downtown Business Alliance meeting. But with that being said, I've seen the energy, firsthand as far as new businesses kind of coming into the fold, being able to do the locally yours videos. Now that's throughout the whole city of Chaska, but the ones downtown, just seeing the enthusiasm and renewed energy. And then also seeing just the future with some of the activation plans that we have in regards to some of our new infrastructure in town and how you guys are going to be able to best utilize that to really bring, nothing makes me more excited than talking about business and talking about marketing and promotional opportunities. So I have loads of ideas, but I certainly don't want to stress anybody out by dumping them all out onto a table. But it is really exciting. It's just fun to see. And then we also even have, I know, so many of our residents are very invested in the success of our downtown. That was one of the top things that when I talked to residents last year during the election season was the #1 topic of discussion. People really care wholeheartedly about the success of our local businesses in downtown and being able to have a place that they can enjoy dining, recreation and be able to kind of promote themselves for their friends to come. And I think that's what's happening, it's there, and then we're kind of building that into that next stage of tourism where we're becoming that regional destination, and even the national destination for people to come and be able to experience Chaska to its fullest potential, and you guys are an important part of that. So I really appreciate all the hard work that you do on a tiny, tiny, tiny little budget, and hopefully whatever you need as far as, you know, action and things from us, you just let us know. You know, I'm here. I can't speak for everybody up here, but I'm very, very invested in the success of our downtown, and so whatever needs to happen with that, that's always in the forefront of my mind. So, thank you.
Well, and we know the community believes in it because we started a community-based newsletter that, granted, it only has like 900 subscribers right now, but we're only in our 4th month. But we have a 65% open rate on that newsletter, which is unheard of in email marketing. So we know the community is interested in what's happening down here and wants to support it. So I think we're all in it together.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for all your efforts, both of you. You guys work so hard. So with that, I think we have a public hearing that we need to open up. And so let's go ahead and get that officially done. I open this public hearing up at 7:47. Does anybody want to come up and speak to the downtown business service charge for their 2026 operating budget? No one's running up front. All right. Well, with that, I guess I will close the public hearing at 7:48 p.m. And do we take action on something? We approve this, right?
Yep.
Or is it just a public hearing?
We
Okay.
have to approve the resolution.
Oh, yeah, okay. So we have a resolution to adopt here as well. So, let's see. The resolution to adopt, I'd entertain a motion for the adoption of Resolution 2025-75, imposing the service charges and setting the 2026 operating budget and plan for the Chaska Downtown Special Service District.
So moved.
All right, we've got a motion from Councilmember Hatfield.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Grah. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Thank you, guys, for coming. All right, so that moves us along to 8B on our agenda, motion to adopt Resolution 2025-73, approving the concept plan for Zero Creek Road, Jenn and Scott Schlauderaff? Schlauderaff,
yeah.
PC number 2025-15. I apologize, I should have sounded out.
Mayor and council members, the item in front of you tonight is for a site that basically is at the intersection of Creek Road and Savannah Way. So right when you're coming down Savannah Way towards Creek Road, it's right in front of you. Looking at turning that into 3 single family home subdivision. And this has gone through the Planning Commission and is being recommended for approval of the concept plan. And I think it's Liz taking this one, so.
Yep. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, council and mayor. We have a concept plan in front of us this evening for the property known as Zero Creek Road, being proposed by Jenn and Scott Schlauderaff. The site in question is highlighted in the orange-yellow on this aerial exhibit. The property is located within our Southwest Chaska area. The streets that abut this property is Creek Road on the south side, and then Savannah Way intersects with Creek Road at a new roundabout, which basically abuts the southwestern portion of the site. The other adjoining uses in the area is mainly residential. We do have other existing larger lot, single-family uses kind of on the east and southeast portions of the site, existing agriculture use with open fields on the north and west sides, and then you have additional detached single-family even more south of those existing residential uses. Highway 212 also is within proximity on the west side of the site as well. We're at the first step in our three-step process, so we will be seeing this 2 other times. This first step is more of a high-level overview and kind of the identification of issues and other comments for them to respond to in their next steps in the process. Just to give you a background, so Jenn and Scott Schlauderaff have resided in the city of Chaska for over 9 years. They do own the property at 4080 Creek Road, so it's the property immediately east of this one. They did purchase this property back in 2024 with the intention to develop it for their family to live on. They started the process earlier this year and did conduct a neighborhood meeting in August. They did have 2 attendees at that meeting, and there were no stated opposition to the project itself. So the site in question, this is an existing conditions plan, just highlighting some of those major characteristics of the site. The property itself is a little under, or almost 8 acres in size. There is an existing field access road that provides access off of the northwest portion of the roundabout at Creek Road and Savannah Way. It's a gravel road, and again, they'll utilize this existing access point with their development layout. The west side of the site, which is highlighted in purple, is mainly open field use, and is basically the high point of the site. And the rest of the development or rest of the property, not shown in purple, is encumbered by either wooded steep slopes, roadway easement, or Chaska Creek. The highest point on the property is roughly 34 feet above Creek Road. So if you drive down there, you'll see quite a bit of a grade change from the road and up into the site there. And with all of the characteristics of the site and what's considered buildable, only about 2.4 acres are really buildable of this 8-acre site. The zoning out here is an open zoning district, which is a holding zone until it develops and gets rezoned in that appropriate process. Just a few images of the site looking north on Creek Road. The top left image is looking on the northwest side where that field access road is today. The top right image is looking from kind of the eastern leg of that roundabout and looking north. So you can see that grade change from the road and up into the open field of the site. The bottom right image is looking from the site and down over the Creek Road roundabout. And then the bottom right image is kind of that open field space looking north on the property. So they're proposing a concept plan, and as Matt mentioned, this is a 3-lot subdivision being proposed. Only 2 of the lots would move forward in the platting process and be platted as actual lots, while the 3rd one would be platted as an outlot for future development. The size of these parcels range in size from 1.6 acres up to 3.5 acres. The setbacks proposed are kind of standard residential setbacks, plus with wooded steep slopes present on the property, they have additional setbacks from those natural characteristics as well, and then a Creek Road setback from the center line that has to be adhered to. And one of the reasons that they're pursuing 2 lots for platting versus all 3 is that in the beginning here, they will be showing or using a shared access or a common driveway to access those 2 lots. And per code, the max amount of lots that can access off of a shared driveway is 2. When you get into 3 lots or more, you're looking at a public or private road setup that's required. As far as the comprehensive plan guides this area, The open space of the site is guided that low-density residential, while the majority of the site is shown as open space in the comprehensive plan. The use that's being proposed is consistent with a low-density residential guidance. And when we look at the description of the low-density residential land use within our comprehensive plan, it does guide a density threshold within that, which is a 2 to 5 dwelling units per net acre guidance. The proposal for 3 lots is at 1.25 dwelling units per net acreage. So in that sense, it doesn't fully meet the comprehensive plan's guidance for density out here. And I'll get into more on that in some subsequent slides. Another point out, the comprehensive plan does guide a future local road extending off of the roundabout in the comprehensive plan, which would be a connector point between Creek Road up to Angler Boulevard to the north. This would be a local road, probably a 2-lane road. With the 2 lots that are being proposed and moved forward with, it does not warrant the construction of this road, as the density just doesn't require that much traffic for the construction of that road. We have noted before that the need of this road in terms of its location and overall design would be determined at a later time when additional surrounding development occurs in this area. But have also stated that it's important that the plan that moves forward on this property doesn't preclude the ability for the comprehensive plan to be achieved in the future.
So, Liz, are you saying that eventually the future local road will feed off of that, of where the roundabout, that north?
Yeah, the way the
and then their driveways would be kind of off the axis of that?
Yep, we'll get into a couple other slides that will kind of analyze that a little bit more. But yeah, the way the comprehensive plan is guided right now, it does show or guide the northern side of the roundabout to have a local road extend off of it. I think there's still a question, and it's really based on how development is going to occur around the surrounding area, whether or not there's a need for that road. But at this point of what we know, the plan or proposal is showing that that could still be fit into the overall layout out there and not preclude it from happening.
Okay.
So getting into the analysis of how this proposal fits with the comprehensive plan, there are a few challenges that are at play which make the density hard to be able to achieve. And some of those factors are the overall buildability acreage of the site. It's only 2.4 acres of buildable space out of an 8-acre site. There's significant topography, as you can see, just looking from Creek Road, that limits the buildability on the highest point of the property. Wooded steep slopes encumber a majority of the site, and then factoring in buffer and setback requirements from that too also start to constrict that buildability as well. Access into the site is also limited just based on the location of the parcel adjacent to the roundabout. And then getting into all of the buffer areas where access can occur and so forth, it really creates an irregular shaped area to build on. Which then kind of limits where building pads can be placed and where future driveway access points can be placed as well. And some goals and objectives that I think are both shared from the staff side as well as the applicant side is there is a goal to minimize impacts on the environmental resources that are out there, specifically the wooded steep slopes, but also an objective to maximize the density as much as possible on site as well. Because of the unique challenges of this property, we've had conversations with the applicant that go back months of how to kind of look at this site and look at the future development of it. So we did advise the applicant to show and provide a ghost plan for how the development can fit into the long-range plan, both from a density standpoint and a future roadway standpoint. And if there's a challenge in physically doing that on their own site for meeting the minimum density, then we advise them to show how that can kind of fit into a bigger picture outside of their site limits. So in sum, this advisement was to have them show a plan or a proposal that does not preclude achieving the comprehensive plan's density and roadway guidance for the future. So the applicant did take that advisement and produced 3 different plans as tangible demonstrations of how this development proposal can really look to the future and how it can fit in to that bigger picture. So the first plan they provided is more of a hand drawing, or what we would call the ghost plat sketch. And this was done so that they could show how the proposal, just looking at their parcel alone, shows the extension of a local roadway through the site from that north side of the roundabout, but also showing the grading limitations or grading limits of that proposed road, given the significant topography that occurs there too, and how those building pads or layout of lots either fit in or don't fit in to kind of those conceptual understandings. So that's what the bottom or the left-hand image or sketch shows there. Grading limits are shown in red, building pads are shown in green. They produced another ghost plat, this one meeting a standard zoning district of the city, which is our R1A zoning district, which is defined as a low-density residential zoning district. And also showed the areas to the north and to the west in terms of how they're guided per the comprehensive plan. So applying a standard zoning district out there, meeting minimum lot sizes and setbacks, and also showing the local roadway access, they're able to achieve a 1.3 dwelling unit per net acre density on that ghost plan. And then taking it a step further, kind of working off of that plan and applying PRD zoning or more flexible zoning to get to that 2-unit minimum is basically the same plan, but upping the density on the north side there to get to that 2 units per net acre. Again, this is meant to show that eventually, looking at the comprehensive area, the plan would fit into what the comprehensive plan has this guided for.
You said they own this land today?
Yes.
Is there water and sewer and all that to it?
Yep, there are water and sewer stubs on the north side of the roundabout.
So there would be no reason for like utilities to not be able to get to this?
Correct,
Okay.
yep. So they do have a conceptual utility plan that they provided in their exhibits to show how the utilities can extend to the lots, yep. And that would be required too, just based on the location of their lots.
What's this, on that proposed road, like, I'm looking at the space on the map and there, it's just like, wow, it's a weird skinny road to try to get in there in that space to connect. What's this, like, distance from that and the off-ramp, that's the 212 right there? Do you have an idea?
The off-ramp is north of there on Engler, and also south of there on Big Woods Boulevard. This is Creek Road.
Well, no, like, what is this?
So it starts coming, sorry,
Yeah,
I screwed it up. It starts,
Right here.
yeah, so it starts
it's
coming
further up
up and
here.
it starts coming up into Ekstrom's property. I think that's their property there.
Okay.
I think one of the things that makes, I think it's good that we're showing sort of what can happen in the future, so we're not precluding anything. Because one of probably the differences of sort of how we may have anticipated development to happen out here when the comp plan was put together compared to how it's being proposed, is I think we always sort of assume that that whole area from Engler coming all the way down to Creek Road would be one sort of property coming down. So I think what this does is it says, okay, how do we make sure that this plan doesn't preclude that from happening in the future so that you can create connections?
Which is why that road is in there. Okay,
Yep.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
there's that, and, you know, the time that Southwest Chaska was being planned, you know, what is now largely the Harvest and the areas south of that are developing, land use did provide for significantly more density than what has materialized, right? And so the nature of the transportation network that needs to exist to serve what has now developed versus what could have are different things.
Yep.
Yeah, I recall like when we talked about even the Engler project with the county, the potential collector road being this, but.
Yep, and it basically, it comes out on Engler at the entrance into Points West.
Yes,
So,
that's why it stands out so
Yeah.
much in my mind.
Yep.
I just had a quick question since this infographic's up. So they're currently, the driveway will be the current like service road with, but this is for the future. So then that would obviously be removed. It would move,
Correct.
right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, and I probably didn't clarify that in earlier slides, but they would utilize the existing access point that's currently on the roundabout. They would kind of realign the driveway from there to meet setbacks and grading limits and that sort of thing. But that would effectively go away should a public road or local road extension need to occur. So these ghost layouts are kind of showing the reorientation of the driveways onto that local road.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that made sense.
And again, I don't think that this implies that it's a guarantee that there's gonna be a road connection down there.
Right.
It's just saying, we wanna make sure that it can, because to Nate's point, you know, depending on what kind of density actually comes up on the property to north, you know, if it's a higher density, you know, we probably don't want it all going to one access point. We probably wanna have a couple different ways to be able to get in and out of that neighborhood. If it's not as high density, then we may look at it and say, well, it may not be needed.
Into kind of the zoning a little bit more. So because of the zoning district that this property is in, it will require to be rezoned during the preliminary phase. So we did complete a table both here and in the staff report just to show how, you know, there's kind of two avenues that the applicant can explore, either a standard zoning district avenue, which would be R1B, or they could go the more flexible, or what we would consider more flexible route, which is a PRD, which I think are both consistent options with our comprehensive plan. So it's really up to the applicant to determine what makes the most sense with what they're proposing. So that will be something that they need to define in the preliminary stage. But the table is really meant to show how their proposal kind of compares to those minimum standards that are defined both in the R1B zoning district and the PRD zoning district. So just a few things for them to work on as they prepare for preliminary. They will have to produce a tree inventory and preservation plan. I didn't get into too much of that, but because of the wooded character of the site, it will be important to show a preservation plan in conjunction with what they're proposing. And then also for them to determine what route they'd like to go with a zoning district. And depending on what zoning district they select, they'll have to meet the minimum standards that are defined in that zoning district. So with that, we're asking you to make a motion this evening to adopt resolution number 2025-73, which is approving the concept plan for the 3-lot subdivision at Zero Creek Road, and then based on the conditions that are listed within that document. happy to answer any other questions. We do have Scott Schlauderaff here as well to help answer questions.
Is there any concerns about, I just can't think of another spot where there's like a residential driveway off of a roundabout. Now, that's not a very busy roundabout, and it likely, you know, if it ever is, then it's gonna be a road. So it's, I think, a marginal concern, but is there any, I mean, it's so little used, down there, but any concern on that?
Not that have been defined from an engineering standpoint. I think because of the low density of it, there hasn't been a huge concern. Granted, you know, we're still in concept phase, so, you know, we're looking at this more high level, and more analysis will probably come in preliminary, but nothing that's been stated that we think are big red flags or things that can't be sustained with the orientation of that access point right now.
Well, but if I understand that correctly too, just to double on your point, it's not really off the roundabout right now. Right? It's, you go all the way around and then it's there.
Well, yeah.
And then when it becomes big enough to be a road,
it'll be
that's
there.
when we
Yeah.
put off the roundabout.
Yeah.
Okay, just, it's close to the roundabout, I get that, but yeah, it's not like it's the natural curve and
Right,
you're
yeah.
going straight, you're gonna go all the way around.
A couple things I can add to that, to what Liz laid out. Yeah, I mean, I think I'll affirm, you know, the idea that this is 2 single-family homes, so the level of traffic here is not significant, right? So.
We have the same issue on the other side of the road too.
Yeah.
With the Cruz family that has the farm down there.
There's no
They have an
access.
access that's pretty close to straight across from there. And if that was a lot of houses in there, we'd say that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But when it's one user like that, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, you're not getting the density
Yeah.
of traffic on.
The other
Yeah, I
piece on there, and the main thing that I think we have focused on with the Schlauderaffs is making sure that it's accessible for emergency vehicles, right? So primarily fire, and making sure that the trucks will be able to get up there. And if that's not an option, then we have to look at sprinkling and things. I don't think they're interested in that. And so we're working with them on that. And, you know, so far, I don't think we've seen anything where it won't be able to be achieved.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice plan. It, you know, it's always nice to keep spaces wooded and, you know, low density, and honestly, like, getting to live next to your sister is a dream, so that's cool too. I love that. For some of them, okay. I am best friends with my sister, so getting to live next to my sister would be a dream, but,
Just wait
yeah.
till there's kids and they're all running down your road to you.
Yeah, and next to grandparents, that's, yeah, like a family compound, sign me up. Yeah, so I think it's a nice plan and some good things to work through, but.
And I think that the design or the elevation, at least of the proposed homes, it's very nice. It fits, you know, a lot with the area and the idea of a larger lot and a wooded lot and all those things that come with those things. You've done a nice job with kind of laying out what that would look like, so.
We're excited.
I would just say, yeah, I would echo kind of the fun, you know, we look at a lot of developments that are lots of houses and they're gonna be sold, right? And here's a situation where it's like, they already know who's gonna own them, right? And so it's kind of a unique property and kind of a fun little piece too, so it's.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, the only thing I would talk about that road is just, the biggest risk was just low traffic, which is good. I'll make sure I actually start going that way more often now, coming from. Yeah, I like that route. It's just a quick turn, right? Like, cause you go around about, you're not expecting someone maybe to be turning right away. So it's just the fear of rear-ending or being rear-ended will be the little piece of it, but again, it's not a lot of traffic, right? It's the families there, it's just, and we all should be mindful when we go around roundabouts anyway, so.
No, very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything has been said, questions and further things to evaluate when coming through for the preliminary, but it is really exciting to see. And what a great opportunity, and the homes proposed, at least the look of them, they look beautiful, so. All right, well, with that, you guys, I would entertain a motion for approval of.
Motion to adopt.
Yes, motion to adopt resolution, or are you making a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, motion from Councilmember Shevlin.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Graf for motion to adopt resolution number 2025-73, approval of the concept plan for the 3-lot, single-family subdivision at Zero Creek Road. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. All right, yeah, thank you. All right, move us along to 8C. Motion to adopt resolution 2025-74, approving the concept plan for Peavey Business Center, Shaw Construction, PC number 2025-14.
Mayor and Councilmember, the item in front of you tonight is actually, this is a strip of land that was once owned by Aeration Industries when they owned the building to the south, and it was actually owned as a parcel for them to be able to expand their business. Quite a few years ago, they decided to dispose of that. Now Aeration Industries is no longer there. There's another business looking at that. And so this site has been up for sale for quite some time. We did have it come in front of us several years back for some, I think it was office condos that had been looked at for there. And this proposal would be putting an 18,000 square foot industrial building with outdoor storage there. So this is a concept plan, so the first stage, I think Ashley is taking this one, and it is coming from the Planning Commission for recommendation for the approval of the concept plan.
Thank you, Matt. So we are up in the northeast corner of Chaska. The Chaska-Chan border kind of wraps around this industrial area. We are looking at this property just to the east of Highway 41, between 41 and Peavey Road. We are in a concept plan, so as Liz mentioned earlier, our plans are high level, our review is also high level, and we're really looking at just identifying issues that we're going to resolve as we move through that process. The request before you this evening from Shaw Construction is for an 18,000 square foot industrial building with outdoor storage in the rear. There are 2 tenants that have been identified to occupy that new building. They are here this evening. That is Southwest Rental and Sales. They're relocating from another site within Chaska, and then Crimson and Copper Plumbing, which would be coming from another community. As Matt alluded to, the council in 2005 did approve a number of land use related items for the Chaska business lofts. That was to allow for 3 buildings, roughly 6,000 to 8,000 square feet each, to accommodate about 15 tenants total. The zoning for the property prior to 2018 was PID 2 for Planned Industrial District. Generally, that district, like many of our others, established setbacks, permitted uses, accessory uses, et cetera. As it relates to this project, that district also prohibited outdoor storage on lots that were adjacent to Highway 41. In 2018, all of those properties that were zoned PID 2 were rezoned to PID 8 industrial. There weren't many changes that came out of that rezoning. It was really to accommodate some additional standards related to residential uses that had developed to the east in the city of Chanhassen. And so that prohibition of outdoor storage did remain as part of the district through that rezoning. The site today is 2.7 acres. It's currently vacant. So while the final plat for Chaska Business Lots was filed, creating that unique lot configuration for those condo spaces, those buildings were never constructed. There is a cross-access easement area that was also recorded as part of that project. That area is shown in red. Oops, I'm gonna flip back. And that was really to allow the secondary access to improve site circulations as part of that previous approval. So while the buildings were not constructed, the plat and that easement were recorded. There is a type 1 wetland that exists on the western side of the property along Highway 41. And then, as you can see from these photos, this one looking west towards 41, a lot of the vegetation from the site have been removed for ash removal. And then as you're looking east, there are some remaining trees on the site that we would require a tree inventory to kind of show where their exact location is on the property to understand what the impacts would be from the site improvements. And the one of note that a condition of approval has been included for this evening relates to this large mature oak tree in that southeast corner. The highest point of the property is up along that northern property line. The property is relatively flat as it sits in the center, with most of that drop-off happening as you move down to Peavey Road. It's about a 14-foot elevation change. So the plan before you this evening really shows two phases. The phase that we're focusing on tonight is that first phase. It is a 12,000 square foot building with a 6,000 square foot mezzanine level, so it's a total of 18,000 square feet. The building itself would be 28 feet tall with 2-foot parapets to add some visual interest and some screening. And building facade materials would be primarily brick and precast aggregate panels with some glass and metal accents. There is also an 11,700 square foot outdoor storage area that would be in the rear of the property. The plans before you this evening and included in your packet show an 8-foot wood fence with brick accents on the corners to screen that outdoor storage. And then their plan also shows 31 parking stalls that would be constructed as part of phase 1, and then 15 proof of parking stalls that are inside that outdoor storage area. And then phase 2, which would require future approvals and consideration, but is shown on here to show what could happen on that eastern side of the site, includes a future 9,000 square foot building and additional parking. Moving through our analysis of the plan as it relates to land use, the proposed use would be in alignment with the 2040 comp plan guidance for industrial uses. And generally the uses within the building, the floor plan is showing 6 tenants, and those warehouse and office uses would be consistent with what's allowed in the PID 8 district. However, as I noted before, outdoor storage on properties along 41 is prohibited, and so if this project were to move forward in that next step in phase 2 of our land use review process, there would be a zoning amendment needed in order for that to happen. That's not under review for this evening, but you will note, as was asked of the Planning Commission, if the council so wishes to provide feedback on that outdoor storage, that would be helpful for both staff and the applicant here this evening. As it relates to the building itself, facade materials are appropriate, 42% meeting that Class 1 standard above what our code would require, 50% meeting Class 2, again, what our code would require, and then the remaining falling into that Class 3 classification. Building setbacks meet or exceed what would be or what are allowed or required in the PID 8, so that box is also checked. As it relates to access and parking requirements, the site would be accessed from Peavey Road to the east. No access would be shown onto 41, which is as required by the PID 8 district, so we're checking that box as well. The proposed parking, again, at 45 stalls shown on the plan, would meet the requirements by code for the currently proposed warehouse and office uses. However, our parking ordinance does have a provision that does require additional proof of parking or additional stalls when a warehouse use is included, and that's really to ensure that there's adequate parking if that warehouse use converts into a more intensive user like office. And so that's where those additional 18 stalls getting up to the 63 stalls is coming from. And so as the project moves forward, again, we would look for those additional stalls to be shown on the site plan, likely as proof of parking. So that's included in your packet for this evening as well. The proposed parking lot and access to get to that parking lot throughout the site do meet the setback requirements from rights-of-way. However, the parking lot, or excuse me, the access roads are shown at a 5-foot setback from those north and south property lines when 10 feet is required. So we would look for those setbacks for that parking lot to be adjusted to meet that setback requirement moving forward. And then subsequently, we would just ensure that site circulation for our fire equipment is still being accommodated as it's currently shown. Staff is currently also evaluating and working with the city attorney to understand the city's obligations and what our involvement is with that cross-access easement that still exists on the property. If those site improvements that are described in that access agreement are not constructed, as they're currently not shown to be, what are the implications of that? And then also understanding that the site plan is showing other site improvements within that access, cross-access easement area. What are the implications of that? As it relates to landscaping, again, understanding the site impacts to that large oak tree will be something that we'll want to understand moving forward. But generally, the landscaping plan appears to meet landscaping requirements when it comes to quantity. We'll look for additional landscaping details as we move forward to ensure that we're meeting the other requirements related to species and sizes. Utilities, this plan is really just showing that utilities are available to the site. They're going to be extended from Peavey Road. Stormwater would be generally collected and directed to the 2 filtration basins, one on the west side of the property and then one on the southeast corner of the property. In August, the developer did host a neighborhood meeting. They're invited 16 properties, which meets that 500 feet notification area. No one did appear to that meeting. And then on October 8th, so I don't know, a week and a half ago, it went to the Planning Commission. The applicant and the future tenants were also present. They answered some questions that the Planning Commission asked of them, just related to timing of construction of the future building, as well as just some questions about site security and lighting needs, and then just general overall business operations and hours. The Planning Commission then also did discuss the outdoor storage area as it related just to location and screening. You know, what does that look like? They felt that because it was behind the new proposed building, that was a reasonable location and would provide some screening from 41, which was really the intent, they believed, of that prohibition. They did also agree that stored materials should not exceed the height of the fence. So whatever that fence height is, should be the max height of whatever is stored within it to ensure adequate screening. They also discussed just some concerns that they had about the potential for future requests from other property owners if outdoor storage were allowed on this property, and what could be done to mitigate that and anticipate that that could happen. But ultimately, they did approve the request, or they recommended approval of the request moving forward. So again, if the project were to move forward, there's a couple things that are required. It would either be preliminary and final plat, which would come before you. That's really to address that remaining lot configuration coming out of the Chaska business lofts. The other alternative would be for the applicant to just lot combine. That is something that can happen at the county, so that would not come before you. And then site and building plan reviews for that new building, outdoor storage area and associated site improvements. But then that third item occurring again in the second phase would be that zoning ordinance amendment to allow the outdoor storage. So things, again, just summarizing that we're going to continue to look for as we move forward into primary, or preliminary, not primary. Thinking election season, I guess. I'm getting ahead of myself. As it relates to Parking, again, increasing that parking lot setback and then adding those additional stalls, understanding the tree inventory and landscaping details as well as an illumination plan, and then continuing to detail out the utility stormwater and site circulation plans for review, and then just continuing to evaluate the tree impacts and the cross-access easement implications, as well as outdoor storage. So this evening, again, if the council so wishes, you can discuss and provide feedback, understanding that it doesn't guarantee any future or final decision by you. But if you wanted to provide some feedback on whether the proposed outdoor storage and necessary zoning amendment is reasonable and is something that they could continue to pursue for the site, that would be helpful. And then we would look for a motion. So with that, I'll turn it back to you for any questions.
So I'm struggling with the orientation of this building, I guess, because not all of the buildings on there are oriented the same, but I want to make sure I understand it. And you kind of said this, so I'm pretty sure, but from 41, we'll see like the front of the building.
Yes.
Right? Versus, because some of those buildings on Peavey, the orientation is the
Side.
It looks
Peavey.
like the, yes.
So the orientation of the front of the building would be 41, that's what you would see there. Behind the building is where that outdoor storage, and then there's the potential future building.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So this this would be the western elevation. So this would be the front of the building where the customers or people visiting the site would enter. That would be your view from 41.
Okay.
And then the outdoor storage area would be fenced in behind the new building.
Okay. Makes sense.
The outdoor storage in the back, we believe Highway 41? Because I assume, the reason I asked, I assume that ordinance is written that way because of 41 being a high-traffic space and not wanting a huge visibility of outdoor stuff. Because as much as you want to organize it, it's going to be stuff, right? I understand, so my question is do we think there's visibility, it's set back of where you would really see the storage from 41?
So one of the things that we've talked about a lot in evaluating this plan and working with the applicant is understanding the intent of the no outdoor storage, on this area. And I think you're hitting the nail on the head. It's really about that visibility to 41 and Peavey, and making sure that what is I think a pretty clean, professional-looking business park out there today continues to be that way, right? And so that's where we've sort of laid out, working with the applicant to say, well, this isn't permitted today. You're asking for an exception. So if we're going to go down that road, it really needs to be in line with the intent and the vision, right, for that business park and continue to maintain that. And so how would we achieve that? And that's where we've talked about really trying to orient any outdoor storage away from 41, having it not visible from either road. And I think, the way that the applicant has positioned the building relative to 41 and then that future second building, should that occur, really kind of buries that outdoor storage in the middle of the site and limits that visible opportunity. You also consider the surrounding area and the buildings that exist. And so the angles that exist to see behind what this new building would be are pretty limited.
Yeah, that's why I was.
Well, and I think also the fact that it wouldn't be over the top of the fence.
Right.
It would also.
Yeah, we say that, and then we enforce, and I'm not saying that the applicant that's here doing that would do that.
Right.
But there's future applicants if things move on, right, and then it becomes an enforcement piece, right? Because we can say not above fence, we gotta enforce above not the fence, so. Okay. The second part of that question is, I think, first of all, I'll just say that I'm not a huge fan of making special cases for special projects in general. So I would, and I do worry about okay, you made one, and as redevelopment happens, what does that look like the other? And for me, it really is the key of the visibility of 41. If you look at Peavey, I think that's important too, but generally Peavey is gonna be people, people who are driving there are going to those places of business, right?
It's also a very pretty fall road. I highly recommend.
Like right now, it's a high.
Yeah, it would be really pretty right now.
Again, like that would be a little, it's really kind of that gateway. 4110s can be a gateway, right? And so you want to preserve that. So I think it'd be if we think about what that amendment writes, I think talking about the visibility pieces is critical, because, I don't want a situation where another down the road and they're like, oh, we're going to put it in front. You approved this, you said we could, we're going to ask for the same, because that's not the spirit of what they're attempting to do, which is great. So I really would want to think about, and I'm sure staff would do, like, what is the wording of that amendment? Because it'd be nice to be able to use that if we're going to make an exception, knowing that if you make one exception, you're going to
Well,
get.
it's a precedent that gets set.
You're going to get two. And I respect the fact that they really are working with staff, thinking about how do we protect that view, and whatnot. So that's kind of just my thoughts. Like, I guess I'd ask the applicant, I know if we're asking them up. My assumption is that in lieu of an outdoor storage, it would be a warehouse that you would build. It's cheaper, right? I'm assuming that's the reason why it's outdoor storage versus a enclosed building, is it's ultimately cheaper for the use of what is going in there. You certainly may. I mean, yeah, perfect.
Craig John Garius, Southwest Rental and Sales, Southwest Power Equipment. We've owned Southwest Rental and Sales since 2013. Southwest Rental and Sales has been a business in Chaska for 25 years. We are the third owners. We are currently about 150 yards down the road, and we no longer can renew on our space. So we don't have much of a choice but to make a move by the end of 2026. We would like to stay in Chaska. Yeah. There are not a lot of options for us to stay in Chaska. We understand that outdoor storage is very difficult everywhere, especially in metro area cities. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants it. I get it. We do have a lot of equipment, but we feel that the equipment that we have can be very well shielded by the fence. And the difference in the cost between outdoor storage and, say, warehouse would take us out of the market. We would not be able to stay if we had to build warehouse for all of our equipment.
Understood. Okay. I appreciate it. Like I said, that was my assumption, but I don't like to make assumptions.
Yep.
So just as you're up there, what type of equipment does get stored there?
Okay, to give you guys a little bit idea, if you're not familiar with Southwest Rental and Sales, we do party rental, equipment rental, and tool rental. So we do a lot of graduation parties. We do some small weddings. We rent to the city of Chaska. Tables, tents, chairs is pretty much the hard items of party rental. We do all of that. We do, I would say, small to medium-size equipment. So full-size skid loaders, small excavators, and down. So track skid loaders, wheeled skid loaders, mini excavators to dig trenches, to dig pools, to dig ponds, right? But not big stuff, right? I think we measured our tallest excavator as 8 foot 2 inches tall. Okay. The tallest piece of equipment we have is 8'6", and that is just the chute on a wood chipper, so for brush chipping, right? But we rent mini skid loaders, all of that stuff, log splitters, chippers, and then all of your regular lawn care needs. So aeration, dethatching, seeding, sod cutting, as well as all of your interior project needs, sanders and routers and planers and chipping hammers and everything you can think you'd need for remodeling projects. So we currently have like 16,000 clients within the surrounding area. Now we service customers as far as Belle Plaine, as far as Savage, into the lakes area, and as far west as about Waconia. But yeah, we do trailers, and that would be the other concern, is like if we didn't have the space to put the trailers in an enclosed area, we're gonna have to now have those in an open area, right? Which I think you guys would prefer them to be in the, right? And for security reasons, we would prefer them to be in a fenced area. So
Okay, I appreciate that. Like I
Yep,
said, just
no
it's
problem.
good perspective, and so that's my comments. Like I said, I think I like the spirit of how it's shielded. That's why I asked the question. And I would really like to say, like, let's make sure that we're flexible to allow others to seek that exception, but meet the spirit of what we're really still trying to protect is that kind of visibility from a high traffic gateway into the city of Chaska.
And the drawings that were submitted, the last one, I presume, is the fence. That looks very appealing because it kind of almost matches the building. Is that what you're planning to make it look like, or will it be like chicken wire down the road?
No, we do not plan on doing a wire fence.
Okay.
It will be a wood fence painted in the same color.
Okay, yeah, it looks nice from the drawing, so I was happy to see that when we're talking fence, we were talking chain link and.
I would agree with Councilmember Grau, like, it's the spirit of it. Yeah, I always worry about precedent, but I think if we can word it well and definitely in that area, thinking even about Peavey Road, there's a lot of mature trees, so, I know it's concept, so we don't have landscape plans and whatnot, but hopefully we'll see some of that come back to kind of continue that, because it was a bummer, obviously those ash trees had to go, but it does look silly now, especially because that area is very wooded for having a business park there. It's very wooded, and that's kind of nice. So I think the landscaping will be important too. But I think it makes sense. And I don't know if you were the owner when I worked at the Canine Club, now the Hound Dog, but I remember them always being very good neighbors across the street. And so I think that's a good thing too. And keeping business in Chaska is important. I think that's something, at least I know I care about, and we've talked about. So yeah, I think it makes sense, and I appreciate the effort into, really getting some good photos. I appreciated, the tape measure photos to really give us a good view, and everything. So, yeah, I think landscaping will play into it, but it's nice that the outdoor storage will be shielded by the building, and that thankfully the building and the what's around it will help shield as well. So.
And I do just want to commend you wanting to stay in Chaska. That's huge. I mean, the fact that you service all around us and you want to stay here and you provide jobs here, I presume, and all that is while there's a precedent, there's also rewarding people who are bringing jobs and industry to our city. So.
If I understood correctly, because I see the gentleman with the hat that matches the other company, that's a new business coming in Chaska, right?
Yes. Mike, Crimson Copper Plumbing. We're out of Waconia. We've been there 8 years, and we're looking to move to Chaska.
Nice, good choice. Just
pretty-
kidding.
Yeah, we think
He's
so.
hammering on me because I have a business in Waconia, so that's all
Waconia's
right.
a good town, too.
I'll cheerlead for you too, so.
Well, welcome as well. I appreciate it.
Just out of curiosity, the proposed second building,
Yeah. That's a good question.
come on. Come on up, come on down. What's the plan?
Mike and I are partners in this building project.
Okay.
As of right now, I know they had said as many as 6 tenants. In all reality, we are hoping probably 5 at the max, but most likely it's going to be 3 or 4.
Okay.
Mike is going to occupy somewhere around 30 to 50% of the building. I'm going to occupy somewhere around 30 to 50% of the building. And we are hoping one other tenant will occupy the rest.
Okay.
Ultimately, Mike doesn't particularly need retail space. He loves the idea of having 41 frontage.
Yeah, the signage is important.
Right.
Yeah.
But that 9,000 square foot future building is really probably going to be his future building.
Okay.
Right, so right now you have 6 plumbers?
Right.
Right, so right now Mike has 6 plumbers. He's looking to continue growing his business.
Sure.
He really needs open warehouse space with maybe a couple of offices in a conference room type of thing.
Okay.
So that 9,000 square foot space hopefully would be, we either, between my business and I believe the other business we have coming in, we absorb his space, or we're getting to that point.
Yep.
So then we can build the future building and Mike will move.
Kick him out?
Well, not kick him out, but, and that would be the hope. And then our hope is that this is our first building project together, right? So, I would foresee in the future, I believe in the next 10 years, Southwest will probably control 2/3, if not the whole front building.
Okay.
We foresee growth to be able to do that. And then Mike would be in the 9,000 square foot building in the back.
Sure.
And then we see a lot of opportunity with especially small business growth in the area where they are lacking. We were hoping to have enough space to do a little bit more incubator work out of this building. We're hoping to do some where small business incubator kind of help other, especially working with your hands type businesses, get off the ground. And we hope to work towards that.
Sure.
So.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you for expanding on that for me. I was curious, like, you know, the future in that regard. And I think I'll echo the same statements that Councilmember Grah and Hatfield had said in regards to just, you know, and also Councilmember Shevlin, the fencing to kind of screen and shield, it's really well done. We're always really careful. It's not anything personal or anything, but any decision that we make up here is obviously, it's a big decision that kind of sets a precedent for anything else that kind of comes before us. So we have to be very diligent and thoughtful about what we, you know, are discussing and what we're setting forward, because guarantee you somebody will come forward with that, and we just want to make sure that we're kind of checking all those boxes. So I think as those conversations continue, I think it was really well said up here. And I just also would like to say thank you for your continued desire to be in a business in Chaska and to invest in Chaska as a property owner, and also, you know, grow your business here and grow jobs and grow industry here. And then I am thankful for you to move over to Chaska. Even though I know I understand that takes a lot of work and effort. And then obviously you have future plans to grow your business as well. And I'm all about business, so.
It's like a great spot to grow the company, and that's what that second building is about. Craig and I are both growing our businesses, and as soon as we can, we're gonna build that.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. It's great to hear those plans, so thank you
We
guys.
could potentially have some office space above on the second story. If you're interested, just let us know.
I'm okay.
Photography and plumbing.
I'm okay on the corner
Work
in
with your
town.
hands.
by-
It is work with your hands.
Oh, boy. Appreciate that. Yes.
If you've never been to Southwest Rental, they're my favorite business in town. You can get anything.
Well,
Absolutely anything you can get at their business.
Really?
Yeah.
It was like something that I'd go in there and probably bring something home that I shouldn't bring home. 'Cause I'd make a
Well,
bigger
but the
mess.
good thing
But
is
it's
you
there. I can-
take it out and then you get to bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. You get to try it before you buy it, sort of thing.
So I could dig in my own swimming pool on a city lot here and just
Aw,
open
I
it
mean,
up.
the word mini excavator
Yeah.
just really is
I
like,
know they're
yeah,
thinking,
sign
"Build-
me up.
Dig me a pool now.
So, no, I mean, this is great. These are fun. These are fun things when they come before us, so. Any other discussion or questions? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion, as for approval, or to adopt resolution number 74, approving the concept plan for Peavey Business Center at 4200 Peavey Road.
Motion to approve.
All right, motion from Councilmember Shevlin.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Benish. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for sticking it out. All right, so that moves us along to the most entertaining portion of the night, the bills. Does anybody have a question on a bill that they're itching to ask? No. All right. Well, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve these bills.
Motion to approve the bills.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Hatfield. And a second from the mayor. All right, any other discussion? Otherwise, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hatfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Benish?
Yes.
Councilmember Shevlin?
Yes.
Councilmember McGraw?
Aye.
Mayor Hubbard?
Yes. I was like, wow. Maybe we do have to have some discussion
I was literally
over
thinking you were
this.
next, and I'm like, wait a minute.
No, she skips me. Okay, well, that leads us into the second most entertaining portion of the night, the roundtable discussion here. Councilmember Hatfield, start us off.
Sure. Here I am, back with your events. Put them on your calendar. First up, trick or treat all day on Saturday. You start in the morning in the Chaska Commons, and then you can go downtown and trick or treat 2 to 5, and then the jamboree at the community center at 6. So literally, you know, the Downtown Business Alliance mentioned it earlier, but there's over 20 businesses participating in the downtown trick-or-treating, and it really is one of my favorite days because there's just like a really cool energy. Everyone's got their kids down there, and this year you can sip while you do it, which does sound extra fun. So that's happening, and then some of the things coming up for downtown. Deer Weekend is 11/8. All the shops are you know, doing fun things for those usually, and it's another weekend that has a lot of really fun energy downtown, so you can come eat and hang out. You know, we talked about the service-based businesses. You can get adjusted at the chiropractor, get a haircut, and then go shopping. And that sounds like a great Saturday to me. The fireman tree lighting is 11/23. Small Business Saturday is the 29th of November, and then hometown holiday is 12/6. So those are all a lot of fun things happening downtown, and you can sip something while you do all those Saturdays. So highly recommend. Some other things happening this week on Wednesday. I'm very excited about this. Pizza with a Cop at Red Bench. So that's in the evening. So if you've been really bummed that you couldn't go because you have a 9-to-5 job, no excuses. Now you can. So Red Bench, 5 p.m. Go have some pizza, hang out with the cops for a good reason. That's always the best plan to do.
Not that we don't want to hang out with you otherwise, but.
I just meant like, don't get, you know, just go have pizza. You don't need to get arrested to hang out with them. And then Katrina Fest is also coming up. That's this Friday. Yes, 6 to 8:30. So that's always a really fun event too. Really high energy, really, really cool. Like if you haven't done it before, go down because it's just a really cool event to see everyone dressed up and all the things they do for that event. So that's your schedule of events that I just gave you there. The other thing I was just going to mention, I saw the historical structures and signage up downtown, and they're really, really cool. So if you haven't,
take a tour
downtown. Like go read those, see them. I know like staff in the Historical Society put in a lot of effort into those, and it's just really cool to see that they're up, and it just really like felt like it completed some of those Paseo areas, and I'm excited now because I think at least for a bit here I won't have to worry about crashing my car when I see a new thing downtown and get really excited. So especially because the first one I saw, really good thing. Well, what happened when the little lights went up on the Paseos, I almost crashed my car noticing those, and then these went up and I almost crashed my car again because it was on 41 and looking to the right, and you definitely should look forward.
I always do like wait a minute, was that there before? Did I miss that? How long has that been there for? So grateful to hear that.
They look really nice.
That's right away.
Yeah, I think it was really a labor of love to get those done.
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
That's
Like Liz.
I know, it was like,
Ashley.
I was like,
They had
there's
a
just
lot to do with it.
one person, yes.
Kevin.
And yeah, so a lot of work went into those, so it was really, really exciting to see those up. So when you go trick or treat downtown, you can go look at those as well.
Yeah, learn about the history of Chaska.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'm very excited. I haven't got to like stop and look at them yet, but my step grandma's on one of them, and I'm really excited to go see that. And yeah, it's just they're very cool. You can read a lot about all the history, and they, for the most part, where you read about them is like it's
area.
Yes, it's relevant to where you're standing. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
very cool. So that was all I had.
Great report. Awesome. All right, moving along down the line.
I do not have anything.
No report.
So, no report.
All right, we're gonna skip me and we're gonna move over to you.
The only thing I would say is last week, because of many different things, I had my puppy groomed at Fur Ball, and because there was a bubble tea spot next door, got a bubble tea. Then I needed a car battery, so I went over to O'Reilly and got a car battery, and then while I was waiting for the dog, went to the dive spot. And so I think we talk a lot about downtown and we focus here, but there are some great businesses on the other end of downtown, and that's not to say that there aren't more that I didn't mention, but that I just hit in a week. And I would encourage people just to also go to that end of downtown and visit those businesses because there's some interesting stuff going on down
Did
there.
you have a corn dog at Bubble?
I did, and those
Those
cheese,
are so good.
those cheese dogs are
Yes.
like, oh my God. So if you haven't had a cheese dog and bubble tea from, I don't know, is it called Bubble Time?
Bubble Time, yeah.
It's amazing. And then if you go around the corner, the dive spot has some really interesting little finds, and I think the plants are really cute. They sell plants in like thrifted pots, I guess. But anyway, very cool. And they sell everything from clothing to, knickknacks and whatever.
They were featured on the news or
They were not that
Twin
long
Cities
ago.
Live or something.
Yeah.
I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, the guys at O'Reilly, super helpful, got the battery in. The people at Furball couldn't be nicer to my old dog and my new puppy. So I was very impressed and just thought we should give those businesses down there a shout out as well.
Great. Wonderful. All right. Moving along.
I'm full of questions, just to go in after a little bit. So,
Boy.
botting tour is this Thursday.
Correct.
Okay, because in here it says next Thursday, so I'm trying to figure out how to read that.
That's because
They wrote it on
I know,
Friday.
right, that's why I figured. It's Thursday, 2:30 to 3:10.
Yep.
Why don't you talk, I think it's good for people to understand.
Yeah.
So, I'll ask you a little time.
So,
Get it on the record a little bit.
a few weeks ago, we had the Senate Capital Investment Committee come. They took a tour of City Square West project. We have a bonding request into them. We also have a bonding request into the House of Representatives Capital Investment Committee, so they're coming to do a tour of City Square West. But we also have sort of a secondary request in for bonding for the sewer extension into our new industrial park. So if you notice, they're actually going to be here for, 40 minutes doesn't seem like a long time, but that's a long stop for
Especially because what the Senate was here for 15.
15 minutes. So we have 40 minutes, and so
They
it's
talk
given
really
us an
fast.
opportunity to talk
job,
about
Nate.
the requesting dollars for the sewer extension going down into our industrial park, which would be a huge boost for that development out there. So basically, it's the first step in being able to be considered for dollars is making a tour. And if you make a tour, it makes it a lot easier now because these people have seen this, to be able to be considered and be called in for a hearing during the legislative session itself. But it's basically them preparing themselves for the legislative session.
Perfect, thank you. My second question, putting the mayor on the spot here, Southwest Metro Chamber of Commerce Mayor's Luncheon.
Yeah.
If I read this correctly, and nor has anyone been asked, are you speaking at that?
I
Because
am.
typically that's been a conflict.
I know, but it is not this year. It is on a Tuesday.
Okay.
And
That's good, because I think I was next in line to have to give that speech, just for the
yes,
record.
you
so.
are off the hook, although I will.
Aren't I the mayor pro tem
No,
right now?
well, you are, but I thought you would throw it back to me, because I made you do it.
No,
for
I
me
love
last-
talking. I don't know if you noticed.
So,
It's good, right?
yeah, no, we actually I met with staff today to talk about kind of an outline of the state of the city, and we talked about as part of that, actually, so this, the mayor luncheon is a chamber event. It's kind of really geared as far as attendance towards our businesses, which is great, and they need to be in the know. But we also talked about our residents need to be in the know, and so we're going to really look at having an opportunity in January where we give the state of the city for the residents, and we bring everybody into the fold with it. So,
Cool.
So yeah. So Nate, get your microphone out.
You can use the handheld microphone.
Yeah, where he's tour guiding, you do the same thing. No,
Test.
we kind of talked about some ideas to kind of bring people into the event, and then just and have this be a part of it. So more to come.
Okay, my last question, obviously upcoming events can't always be fully encompassing what's coming up. Is there a plan to do a Santa parade? Because I do not see that on here.
Yes.
Okay. I was just.
Yeah, and we haven't exactly chose the date yet, but typically we try to do it the same evening that the kids get out of school.
Okay.
So, and I think that's been like December
Stay up
22nd.
late.
Yeah, they're all excited, they stay up late,
Oh.
get them all sugar high, and, yeah. But yeah, we try to aim for that last day of school.
Perfect, that makes sense. And then lastly, because we will not have another meeting in October, there'll be lots of tricks or treaters, as we talked about, next weekend and Halloween, the following weekend. So drive safe. You know, I always think of, man, I look back at some of the Halloween costumes and the masks, like my plastic Teenage Mutant Turtle mask that I wore, like, had zero visibility. You're like, how did, you know, thankfully I was in a small town. We had maybe 2 cars coming down our street. But I think that goes both for people tricks or treating, be visible, be smart. Candy's exciting, but make good, safe choices when you're crossing streets, as well as driving, right? I know, I think especially in neighborhoods that maybe have a lot of younger families, that trick or treating can start early. And so you may be like coming home from work and
Don't race into your neighborhood
Correct.
at 5 o'clock.
So
Yeah.
be safe and have fun. And it doesn't look like there'll be a snowstorm at this point. So it's not
Oh my gosh, why'd you even say that out
I
loud?
just had to say it. 'Cause
Wait. Show of hands, who was here for the Halloween blizzard?
I think I had the
I was
Teenage
too.
Mutant Ninja Turtle. I wasn't in Chaska, sorry. I was here. I was alive.
No, but like, who was in Minnesota? Who was in Minnesota?
So, yes.
We all have our story.
Probably in my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle plastic
Yeah,
mask.
probably.
I think I was a Michelangelo.
We went to 2 houses and they dumped their entire bowl into the bag, so you were done after 2 houses.
All right, those are all my questions that you successfully passed the quiz, so I appreciate it. That's all I have.
Great report. All right, Elise?
Nothing.
Nate?
I don't have anything to add.
What about you in the back? Got anything?
Oh, come on.
No.
We were expecting some good report. Coffee with a cop.
Coffee
there you
with a
go.
cop.
Pizza.
Christoph, got anything?
You know, today I'll just say that I'm very pleased to see the Comcast pole attachment agreement got adopted in the consent agenda. It's been something that Andrew and I have been working on for quite some time. I'll say goodbye to it as maybe I'll leave a blank space on my
You gonna go
task
visit
list
the
to-
pole? Like, and tie a ribbon around it or
Excited
something?
about really small things.
Well, that little small thing is probably taking up a lot of his time.
I was gonna say, it probably was not small to Christoph.
I take it back. That was not being very sensitive
That
to
is
me.
great to hear your perspective on that, though. We thank you for all the hard work you put in as well. What about you, Matt?
I think I have to apologize to him now, so.
You disrespect.
We're getting a live on-air apology. Like,
No, the only thing I'll add is this next week I will be Monday through Wednesday at the International City County Managers Association's conference. So if anybody has anything during that time, you can talk to Elise. So, yep.
What can go wrong?
Yeah.
No.
what can we set up Elise for promotion for by Plat?
Wonderful. Well, just I have a couple things that were not hit. There's a Highway 4110 ribbon cutting that the county's putting on next Tuesday, the 28th at 1 o'clock. I think it's over at Shepherd of the Hill Church over there. Yard waste, so 2 things with yard waste. One, this whole entire month, you, as a Chaska resident, have been able to take your yard waste to the Dakota Prairie composting site that's just south of here, off of 41, for free. But if you are nostalgic and want to go down to Athletic Park, we do have a yard waste day. It is on Saturday,
25th.
the 25th. So this Saturday. What's the times? Because I didn't write that down.
8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
So 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So plenty of opportunity, whether you can make that Saturday and just drop it off in town, or before the end of the month, get over to the Dakota compost recycling.
I can't remember if I mentioned this at the last meeting or not, but staff is in discussions with Carver County now about looking at, because we get a grant each year to do the yard waste cleanup days that we do in the spring and the fall. And if we can start looking at partnering with at least the 4 cities sort of around us, to, you know, at the very least have May and October going forward in the future as being free for residents down at that Dakota facility.
I'm sure you have other communities that would be very interested.
Well, the biggest complaint we get about our cleanup day is that, you know, well, the leaves didn't fall that weekend. They fell 3 weeks ago, or, you know, they haven't fallen yet. So what if they haven't fallen yet? So, it just, to me, I think it'd be a lot more user-friendly to people to be able to do it at their own leisure. So we haven't come up with anything finalized yet, but that is a discussion that we're having right now.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I know that there's some folks that like have plans that Saturday, and so it's kind of frustrating when they aren't able to utilize those services. And they're you know, it's understandable in that regard, but they're also understanding that the, you know, staffing and everything like that to facilitate that.
Well, and that's you know, I grew up in a town where you went to a police department and got a key to get into a dump site where you could go dump your leaves and stuff like that. I mean, that used to be the way cities did it, but now with all the restrictions that there are of what you can put in your garbage, it is amazing if you don't staff these things, what ends up in these piles. And it becomes very expensive to get rid of it. And so that's why it really is restricted to 2 days, is because of just the cost of staffing. But if we could sort of shift that, you know, over to a place that's staffed anyway, it just makes it easier to offer that.
Absolutely.
Mayor, can I jump in for a second? The actual date is November 1st, Saturday, November 1st.
Oh, I screwed up.
See, I thought that was wrong, but I was like, well.
It's always in October, but I guess not this year.
But there's all trick-or-treating that whole day, as Michaela just pointed out.
Krista, let us know.
Thank you, Krista. Yes, okay, so we have a correction. November 1st is our Chaska Yard Waste Day at Athletic Park from
8 to 2.
8 to
I got
2.
that part right.
8 to 2, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right.
He's not convinced of that.
Not convinced. Go look it up online. I'm sure we got it somewhere on our website.
I'm thankful for the correction that was made. I think it just demonstrates the good hands we'll be in when Matt is away.
Yeah, that's very true. Well spoken. True. 2 other things. One, I'm gonna completely, I can never pronounce this correctly, but I always am trying. So if you're up at the community center, there was an ofrenda set up from Latino Voices and also our Human Rights Commission for Dias de los Muertos. Muertos, thank you. I can't, I try so hard, I want to get it right.
Watch some more Coco, it's great.
I know, and that is an excellent movie, which describes that very, very well. It's through November 9th, so it's such a great thing to see. I recommend everybody go visit. So.
You can't miss it either. It's like right when you
Yeah,
come
it's
in.
like kind of right as you come in the gallery part, like of the community center. So, and our next meeting is on November 3rd. Yes, and then that's it. That's all for me.
Well, maybe we should also just brag for a minute and talk about how we were on the top 100 best small cities to live in America list.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Wallet Hub, right? Yeah, we're on the top 100 best cities. I mean, was there ever any doubt?
Best small city.
Yeah, I was reached out to by our local nonprofit newspaper outlet for a quote, and I thought, well, this is a fun fact, but I didn't want to share the secret right away. I figured I'd wait for the article to come out, and very nice. And so, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. We're amazing. We're the best. All right. Well, with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Motion from Councilmember Hatfield and second from Councilmember Grah. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
So we have an EDA meeting, don't we?
Broke off. Wow, I hit that hard, didn't I? Oh, we do have an EDA meeting.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Sorry. All right, we're gonna go right into it then. Let me get there. All right, and then Krista, are you ready for me? Okay. All right, I call this meeting of the Chaska Economic Development Authority to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hatfield.
Here.
Commissioner Benish.
Here.
Commissioner Shevlin.
Here.
Commissioner Gra.
Here.
President Hubbard.
Here. All right, that moves us along to adopting the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections on the agenda? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt agenda.
All right, motion from Commissioner Hatfield,
Second.
second from Commissioner Benish. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted. All right, let's move along to the approval of the previous meeting minutes. These meeting minutes were from September 29th, 2025. Does anybody have any additions or corrections on the minutes? All right, otherwise I'd entertain a motion for approval of meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
All right, motion from Commissioner Member Benish.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Member Shevlin. Sorry. Trying to remember titles and names. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, and then this moves us along to the action item tonight, the discussion item, I should say, the amended land donation agreement.
I'll let Elise take this one.
President Hubbard and Commissioners, back in February, you approved a land donation agreement. This is for that quarter-acre parcel that's between the old Cooper's grocery store and the EDA-owned parcel to the south. At that time, it was not subdivided. It was all part of the grocery store parcel. As we had worked with the Klein family, as they prepared to sell to the grocery store, they were interested in kind of cutting off this triangular section and donating it to the city. This allows us to square off that property. We talked about it at the last work session about the opportunities for redevelopment in the area and whatnot. Since February, we've been able to finalize that land donation agreement. And most of the time, if it's small changes, we wouldn't necessarily bring it back to you because of the administrative approvals that we can do. However, there were some changes that we thought warranted bringing it back to you this evening. So kind of the major pieces is that actual description of the land being donated has been added because that parcel has now been split off and recorded at Carver County. The donation will occur prior to the end of the year. We were trying to get it all done before the end of the month. That likely won't happen, but it'll probably be early November. The donor will pay all taxes for 2025, even though we're receiving some of it prior to the end of the year. They'll take care of all that. Probably the biggest piece that is different from what you saw before, we, as the city, will be we as the EDA will be responsible for all costs of that title insurance commitment, the closing costs, and the deed tax. It's about $1,000 plus or minus in there, so that's slightly different. So we're recommending you approve the amended land donation agreement.
Wonderful. All right, does anybody have any questions on agreement?
No, motion to approve the amended land donation agreement.
Wonderful. We have a motion from Commissioner Hatfield.
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Benish. All those in favor, or any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, so that moves us along to other business. Anybody have anything they'd like to talk about?
I have a whole list. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, wow, okay. All right, well, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, motion from Commissioner Shevlin. Second from Commissioner Gra. Good job getting your name on there. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? You're adjourned. All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna read.